This is just such a moment in time. It's just kind of incredible. It shows where we've come from and passed over. And yeah, this is it. So this was actually in the Democratic National Convention. And I can't remember this young woman's name. She's an actress of some kind. She's done comedies or something.
This is for Hillary.
It's for Hillary.
Dum, 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 like a small boat
I love that.
on the ocean, sending big waves.
She's making love to the camera. Waves.
Like I was single word can make a heart open.
I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream and loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is our fight song. Take back our lives.
Oh, God. That's really Rob Reiner. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Ooh, that's dark.
We're all right.
My power's turned on.
Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else leaves. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Jane Fonda, wow.
Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. I'm in too deep. Said I'm in too deep.
Well, it's been 2 years and I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my
Who is
bones.
that?
Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say,
I think she's a politician from Connecticut.
I thought that was, I don't know who that I thought that was. I think I thought that was like the spirit cooking performative artist.
No, that's not her.
Okay. I'll just
She-
pretend
she's
that
a-
that actually was her. But
I'm pretty sure she's a house representative from Connecticut. She has like blue hair now. She's a really weird lady.
okay. Who is the girl in the purple? She's like that's a bit much. Okay.
my brain. I will scream and loud tonight.
Can you hear my voice this time?
This is our fight
Renee
song.
Fleming.
Take back my life song. Prove we're all right song.
The entire cast of Wicked. Okay, all right. I think you get the idea. It's just fascinating. Wasn't this at the point when woke was still sort of cute? You know, like
It was never cute. I'm sorry. I
regular.
see my paranoid fantasies floating to the surface.
Notice that was there a heterosexual male in that montage?
Rob Reiner.
That's true. Rob Reiner is.
I can't think.
The
Whenever
one
I see Rob
heterosexual
Reiner,
male was brutally murdered by his son. I'm
Because-
laughing, but I genuinely like that. The Rob Reiner thing was just truly horrifying. I mean, wow.
Well-
But I guess in terms of that whole moment, there's a millennial cringe to it. And, I think I mentioned this before. I listened to this book that was quite good called Blank Space, that was a cultural history of the past 25 years. There's actually a little like subchapter on Gavin McInnes. Back when Gavin McInnes was cool, like during the Vice era, and when he was genuinely edgy, and you could even see like little hints of his later stuff in there. Anyway, it got at something. The opening vignette is basically about Pearl Jam versus Lollapalooza circa 2015 or something like that. So Lollapalooza was touring. It's now in Chicago. And he was talking about Pearl Jam. Kurt Cobain would always attack Eddie Vedder selling out. their music. You know, it's like, oh, you're not really a Seattle grunge artist. You're writing rock music for radio. And so Pearl Jam was starting to like release the worst song in their album as a single, like not making a music video and doing all of this kind of stuff. And there was just this notion, a Gen X notion of selling out is the worst possible thing you can do. That if you are poppy, not that pop music didn't exist. You know, this is, I guess, early day. Britney Spears kind of at the end of the 90s, but pop music obviously existed, but it had lost its aura. And he compared that to the Lollapalooza in Chicago, where DJ Solomon, who was literally like the vice president of Goldman Sachs and who I believe literally worked on the IPO of SpaceX recently, was doing, you know, electronic dance music at Lollapalooza, and everyone was throwing up their hands. Now, Kurt Cobain was scheduled for Lollapalooza circa 93 or whenever he committed suicide, and obviously was unavailable to perform. But that gives you an idea. It was the alternative that had actually surpassed the mainstream in popularity and it surpassed the mainstream in terms of aura. And to be real was to play a little bit out of tune and not be well trained, not be commercialized, not be poppy, to be edgy, to scare people. That was the only way you could get to authenticity. And he compares that to DJ Saul, or whatever he's called, actual Goldman Sachs executive doing DJing or electronic dance music. But also the popsitivity movement, which was like, hey guys, let's just get rid of all this grunge and all, you know, edginess. Ugh. Like, I just love pop music. And isn't it interesting that they're singing like, this is my fight song? It's just this bubblegum pop that could have been released in the 90s or 80s, or it's just this out of place, totally generic pop music that they're all singing. And there's no rebellion, really. They're supporting, like, literally Hillary Clinton, who is a former Secretary of State who's going to be president. And it's all this sort of self-expression of hot white girls and their gay friends, and then their fun gay black guy on there. Again, I didn't see a heterosexual man amongst them. And it's just this like rebellion against nothing. Like, let's bring back Jane Fonda. Whatever you want to say about Jane Fonda, she at least met with the Viet Cong, which is fairly badass, to be honest, if disreputable. But they're rebelling against nothing. Their rebellion is their own self-actualization in corporate America. Their rebellion is getting a job at Twitter.
It's against a grave. It's against a grave in a way. It's against a person that does not exist. Or
right. Yeah. They're rebelling against a
trailer
ghost
in Mississippi.
Yeah. They're rebelling against a ghost. They're maybe rebelling against like whiteness. That's implicit at the very least. There are a lot of pretty white girls who took part in this, and they're up front, keep in mind. But yeah, it's self-actualization as the 1960s rebellion. And it is unbelievably cringe. Whatever you want to say, I mean, this is where I do wonder if, like, wokeness, well, how do you define it? I don't know. It's just millennials. Like, it's just them. I'm sorry I'm getting on my hobby horse of bashing millennials, but I'll stop or not get too mean. But it's like their existence in the 2000s, coming up, getting educated, getting a job in a low interest rate environment and a bubbly tech boom. And that is the rebellion. Like, you get paid for it. Now, keep in mind two things. 60s rock and roll, including the Beatles. Yeah, it's rage with the machine as opposed to against it. 60s rock and roll, Dylan, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, there's lots of different variations here. and we could go into them, but they genuinely were subversive, and they genuinely did offend the parents. Like, even Elvis was offending silent gens and greatest gens and whatever came before the greatest generation. This gyrating hips. This was you had to, Elvis on CBS had to be recorded above the waist so he didn't inspire sexual excess. Maybe he was, in a way. There's something, we're just so overexposed to sexuality that we don't know how powerful that was, of this, man crooning in this, baritone voice, singing like a black man and moving his hips. This sexuality just was raw, pouring out of the screen into your living room in the 50s. So what I'm saying is 60s music was genuinely subversive, dangerous, and genuinely hated. Like, this is my fight song. Like, no one, the strongest opinion you have against that type of pop music is that it's cringe. No one's against, no, you're not fighting against anyone. No one's standing in your way. There's no conformist man working for IBM who's a secret Nazi keeping you down or whatever. Like, it's like this rebellion against nothing. And like, it's self-actualization as politics. So it's, I'm with her. So the idea of a female is a rebellion in itself, even though nothing changes about the status quo. And again, the other thing I wanted to point out about 60s music is that, say what you will about it, it is considered classic. People look back fondly on the Beatles, Dylan, the Stones, et alia. There's something groundbreaking, foundational about it still to this day. The boomers made their mark and their children didn't. I actually don't think we've seen the end of the anti-woke rebellion, counter-revolution. I don't think we've actually seen the end of it. I think wokeness will be roundly rejected in totality. You cannot say that for the 1960s. The 1960s classic music, also, everyone wants to pretend that they were there. It's like, oh yeah, I was at Woodstock. Of course, we all were. Like, in reality, a person denounced Woodstock or learned about it 6 months later or something. There's this notion that they were right and that they won. And with the millennials and woke, I think everyone's going to look back on it of like, you were totally cringe, bro. You didn't do anything. None of this is real. We've actually rejected all of this. If it led to anything, it led to transgender surgery for teenage girls or something. I mean, it's just, there's something about it that is deeply embarrassing. And I don't know if because my parents are true boomers. They were both born within 5 years after 1945. So I am a Gen Xer proudly, but I could be confused for a millennial. I was born in 1978. But the real millennials were raised by boomers and, who were born post 1950 up to 1964. And so they were having kids in the 80s and the 90s. And I think it's that process of like, your parents were the actual revolutionaries. And so you don't want to rebel against them in the way like, kids now are, where, I'm a Nazi on Discord, or, I'm a Catholic traditionalist on the internet. I don't think they're rebelling against them in that way. They picked up on the energy of the 60s, but that transformation had been completed. Corporate America embraced you. Corporate America did gay marriage, love is love, 10 years, if not longer, before the federal government did it. You're not rebelling against anyone. All of these people are like waiting for the next thing to embrace. That was sort of the problem with woke. You know, we did the blacks, and then we did Hispanics, and Asians, then we did gays, and trans, I guess they're next on the list. They didn't have a proper Oedipal relationship with their parents or with the establishment. And what I mean by that, obviously I'm referring to Freud and Oedipus and so on. One way of reading this myth, now I'm not doing REM analysis here, but one way of reading this myth is that you sort of have to be a bit of an Oedipus to become a real person, to experience growth. Your mother, it's not like some weird porn thing of like, you want to have sex with your mother. Oh, no. And it's not the play Oedipus where he is unaware of these things. I'm talking in metaphors here. The mother is the site of safety and comfort. Everyone was a mama's boy or a mama's girl at some point when you're suckling on a breast for, your entire existence as a baby. So that's the site of safety. The father is the site of an outsider, a danger, no milk. And it's ultimately the site of discipline and the no. The father tells you no. The father spanks you. Father slaps your hand as you're reaching for the cookie. The father is the site of authority and danger, even. The establishment. The mother is the site of succor and comfort. And you have to rebel against your father or you're not a man. And I won't speak to women here because maybe on some level I could never get it, what it means to be a woman. But just speaking for men, you have to rebel in order to fully self-actualize. And I wonder with the millennials, like there was no one to rebel against. And so they became stunted. And so they just sort of exist in this like little crazy world here where it's all like yippee bee, like I'm self-actualizing. This is so fun. But it's like you're not, because there's no edge to it. There's no opposition. There's no suffering. There's no obstacle you're overcoming. No one's telling you no. And you need that. You need to hate your parents, Again, I don't mean that in some dysfunctional bad way. I mean that in a very healthy psychological way. You have to overcome them or you're not a man. And they never had that. And so we get crap like this, wokeness. Just my little pet theory.